Have you ever found yourself asking, why is this person screaming at me? What did I do to deserve this? Is it something you said or didn't say? Is it because you remained calm when chaos erupted? Let me tell you something. Most of the time, their yelling has very little to do with you and everything to do with them. What if I told you that behind the loud voice is a deeper fear, that their aggression is actually weakness, dressed up as dominance? In this video, we'll uncover 6 powerful truths behind why people scream and how Stoic philosophy gives you the tools to respond with calm, confidence, and clarity. If you're tired of being dragged into emotional storms that aren't yours to weather, hit that subscribe button, tap the bell icon, and let's dive into the mindset that will set you free. 1. Screaming comes from insecurity, not strength. When someone raises their voice at you, when they yell, shout, or explode, it can feel threatening. The volume, the intensity, and sometimes even the words themselves can hit like a slap. Your instinct might be to flinch, to shrink, or to lash out in return. It's natural. But a Stoic sees through the noise. A Stoic understands that screaming is not a display of power. It's a sign of weakness. The loudest voices often belong to those who feel the least secure. When someone screams at you, it's not because they are strong, it's because they feel powerless. Yelling is often a desperate attempt to regain a sense of control that they feel slipping away. The louder the voice, the more fragile the foundation behind it. This is not a philosophy rooted in softness or passivity. Stoicism is about strength, the quiet, unshakable kind. True strength doesn't need to shout. It doesn't need to dominate. It is self-possessed, and that's exactly why your calmness, your refusal to escalate, is so unsettling to someone who is yelling. It highlights their lack of control. Your stillness acts as a mirror, showing them what they lack. Composure, clarity, power over self. Think of it like this. When a storm rages, the ocean is chaotic, but beneath the surface, deep below, the waters are calm. The Stoic lives in those deeper waters. The storm at the surface is real, but it does not reach the depths. So when someone yells, they are revealing their chaos. They are screaming because something inside them feels out of control. Maybe they feel ignored, afraid, ashamed, or disrespected. But instead of processing that inwardly, they externalize it. Their volume becomes a mask, a wall, a defense mechanism, and here's the Stoic key. You don't have to play their game. If you don't react, if you maintain your inner peace, they realize something important. They have no real power over you. Their words may be sharp, but your boundaries are stronger. Their rage may be loud, but your clarity is louder, in silence. This doesn't mean tolerating abuse or accepting mistreatment. Stoicism is not submission. It's discernment. You recognize their behavior for what it is, an expression of their own suffering, not a reflection of your worth. When you can do this, when you can see the yelling person not as an enemy but as someone in pain, you move beyond reaction. You enter into compassion or at least detachment. You see them wrestling with their own demons, projecting their chaos onto you in hopes that you'll join them in the fight. But you don't have to. This is how you reclaim power, not by overpowering them, but by not giving your power away in the first place. So next time someone screams, pause, breathe, observe, and remember, you are not obligated to meet chaos with chaos. Their volume does not define the truth. Their intensity does not determine your response. Instead, hold your ground, in silence or speak with measured calm. You don't need to prove anything. You already know that strength doesn't scream, it stands. 2. Boundaries make people panic. Setting boundaries is one of the clearest expressions of self-respect. You say no, you step back, you draw a line. And then, suddenly, someone in your life reacts, sharply, emotionally, maybe even explosively. This reaction can be confusing. After all, you didn't attack them. You didn't insult them. You simply made a decision for your well-being. But for some people, your boundary feels like betrayal. Why? Because your boundary challenges their control. A Stoic sees this reaction for what it is, not a genuine grievance, but a symptom of insecurity. People who rely on your compliance, who expect you to prioritize their needs over your own, interpret your autonomy as rejection. To them, your no doesn't mean I'm choosing differently. It means I don't care about you. And that perceived rejection triggers fear. This fear quickly becomes anger. They may accuse you of being cold, selfish, or ungrateful. They may manipulate, guilt trip, or punish, not because your boundary is wrong, but because they are uncomfortable with your independence. From a Stoic point of view, your inner peace is your responsibility, and so is protecting it. You are not here to manage others' emotional reactions to your self-respect. You are here to live in alignment with reason, integrity, and virtue. And sometimes that means disappointing people who were benefiting from your lack of boundaries. People panic when they feel they're losing influence. A boundary reminds them they don't own you. That's a hard truth for controlling personalities to swallow. They may have built an emotional contract with you, one that you never agreed to, where your job was to serve, accommodate, or please them. The moment you opt out, they feel threatened. But here's what a Stoic knows. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, not emotional blackmail. If someone can't handle your limits, it says more about them than about you. Setting boundaries isn't an act of war. It's an act of self-care. And when you refuse to be manipulated or guilted, you are honoring your own value. You are saying, I matter too. Some will respond well to your boundaries, others will not. But your peace must not depend on that reaction. You must remain centered in your truth. Let them panic. Let them throw a tantrum. Your job is not to control their behavior, but to control your response. In the end, your boundaries are not barriers. They are bridges. They create the possibility for relationships based on respect, not obligation. And if someone walks away because of your boundaries, they were never truly with you to begin with. 3. The truth can feel like a punch. Truth is a powerful force. It illuminates, it liberates, but it also wounds, especially when it disrupts someone's carefully curated illusions. That's why, when you speak the truth, especially a hard one, people don't always thank you. Often, they react with anger, defensiveness, or outright hostility. A Stoic understands that this response isn't really about the words spoken, it's about what those words reveal. When you speak the truth, you hold up a mirror. You show someone a part of themselves they didn't want to see. And that can feel like an attack, even if your intent is neutral or kind. Imagine someone has built their identity on a belief that they are always right, that they are the victim, that their actions are justified. Then you come along and gently or firmly say something that contradicts that belief. You're not just challenging an idea, you're challenging their self-image. That's terrifying. People cling to illusions because they're comfortable. They offer certainty, even if it's false. The truth is destabilizing. It demands change, and change is painful. So when someone explodes after hearing the truth, know that you've touched a nerve. You've stirred something inside them that they weren't ready to face. But don't let their reaction silence you. A Stoic doesn't speak truth for applause. They speak it because it aligns with virtue. They speak it because it honors clarity over confusion, honesty over deceit. But they also release the need for validation. They understand that truth, like medicine, often tastes bitter before it heals. You are not responsible for someone else's discomfort in the face of reality. You are responsible for your integrity. So speak the truth, not cruelly, not arrogantly, but clearly. And when the reaction comes, when the shouting, the blaming, the denial begins, remember, you did not create their pain. You simply refused to pretend it wasn't there. Your courage may not be appreciated in the moment, but truth, once spoken, cannot be unheard. It lingers. It works on the soul, and even if they deny it today, they may reflect on it tomorrow. So speak clearly, stand calmly, and walk away without regret. 4. Silence is louder than words. There's a peculiar strength in choosing silence. In a world addicted to noise, to reaction, to rebuttals and fiery replies, silence can be one of the most unsettling responses. It's counterintuitive, especially in the heat of a conflict, but it holds immense power. The Stoics understood this deeply. They knew that not every provocation deserved a response, and that inner peace was far more valuable than external validation. When you say nothing, it's not because you're weak or have no words. It's because you've chosen peace over performance. You're not trying to win an argument or prove a point. You're not seeking to dominate a conversation or get the last word. Instead, you've made a conscious choice to preserve your energy, to maintain your clarity, and to avoid being pulled into chaos. This is infuriating to some people, especially to those who thrive on drama. To the emotionally chaotic, silence feels like rejection. It feels like abandonment. When you refuse to engage in their game, when you deny them the emotional fuel they're accustomed to receiving, they may lash out. They might scream louder, press harder, insult you more viciously, all in an attempt to shake you out of your calm. But your silence does something they don't expect. It breaks the cycle. It puts a mirror up to their chaos. It shows them that not everyone will dance in their emotional storm. And for someone addicted to conflict, that's deeply unsettling. Your calmness exposes their imbalance. Your stillness reflects their inner turmoil. And for them, that's intolerable. A Stoic recognizes this reaction for what it is: an attempt to control. When someone cannot handle your silence, it often means they're trying to provoke a reaction to regain dominance. They want to pull you out of your centered state so that you act irrationally, so that they can then point to your behavior and say, "See, you're the problem." But when you remain unmoved, when you stay grounded, they're left only with themselves. This is not easy. Choosing silence, especially in the face of accusation or manipulation, requires immense discipline. It requires you to resist your ego, to ignore the bait, and to stay true to your values. But the reward is worth it. You preserve your peace, you stay in control of your emotions, and most importantly, you refuse to give power to those who feed on reaction. Silence also creates space to reflect, space to observe, space to understand what's really going on beneath the surface. Sometimes in that quiet space you see the truth more clearly. You realize that the conflict isn't even about you, it's about them, their pain, their fear, their insecurity. And that realization gives you freedom. So don't let noise pull you off center. Don't let someone else's chaos become your burden. Your silence might be misunderstood. People may label you as cold, unbothered, or distant. But that's okay. Your goal is not to be understood by everyone. It's to live in alignment with your principles. And if that means choosing stillness when others expect a storm, so be it. Let your silence speak. Let it declare your boundaries. Let it reinforce your strength. And know that sometimes the loudest message you can send is saying nothing at all. 5. Your growth triggers their insecurity. Personal growth is a beautiful, painful process. It's a shedding of old skins, a breaking of old patterns, and a reaching for something higher. But what many people don't realize is that as you grow, evolve and expand, you will inevitably trigger discomfort in those who choose to remain the same. Growth shines a light, not just on where you are now, but on where others are not. It becomes a mirror, reflecting back to them their stagnation, their complacency, and sometimes even their regrets. And not everyone handles that reflection gracefully. When you rise, some people, often those closest to you, will try to pull you back down. Not because they're evil or malicious, but because your growth threatens their sense of control. They were comfortable with who you used to be. They knew how to navigate that version of you. They knew how to manipulate it or at least predict it. But the new you, the one setting boundaries, prioritizing peace, chasing purpose, that version is unpredictable. And for them, that's terrifying. You may notice subtle forms of resistance, sarcastic remarks, dismissive comments, passive-aggressive behaviors, or even outright hostility. You've changed, they'll say, as if that's a bad thing. They'll criticize your decisions, question your motivations, and attempt to make you feel guilty for choosing growth over comfort. But this isn't about you doing something wrong. It's about them being forced to confront their own immobility. It's about them realizing that while you've been climbing, they've been standing still. And that contrast can feel like rejection, even if you've never once tried to make them feel small. This is why it's so important to stay anchored in your purpose. Growth isn't about pleasing others. It's not about staying small to keep others comfortable. It's about becoming who you're meant to be, even if that means outgrowing relationships, roles, or environments. Let them shout. Let them project their fears onto you. Let them misunderstand. You don't owe anyone the version of you they were comfortable with. You owe yourself the freedom to evolve, even if it disrupts the dynamics you once shared. A Stoic sees this clearly. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If someone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake, I will gladly change. It is the truth I seek, and the truth never harmed anyone. But when your truth makes others uncomfortable, it's not your job to shrink. It's their responsibility to rise, so keep climbing, keep stretching, keep growing, and trust that the right people, the ones who love you for who you're becoming, not who you were, will rise with you." 6. Some people are addicted to chaos. It's a strange thing, but undeniably true. Some people are addicted to chaos, not in the clinical sense, but in the emotional sense. They thrive on tension. They feel alive in conflict. Peace to them feels boring or even threatening. And when you try to bring calm into their world, they push back with ferocity. This isn't about logic. It's about emotion. Many people were raised in turbulent environments, homes where yelling, manipulation, or volatility were the norm. Over time, they came to associate emotional intensity with love, control, or connection. So now, as adults, they recreate that chaos, consciously or not, because it feels familiar. So when you show up with groundedness, with clarity, with calm, they panic. They don't know how to relate to peace. It feels alien, suspicious, even dangerous. They might accuse you of being distant, cold. You don't care, they might say, simply because you refuse to yell. You refuse to engage in emotional warfare. But here's the truth. Your refusal to match their energy is not indifference. It's self-protection. It's wisdom. A Stoic doesn't get pulled into every fire. A Stoic observes, assesses, and disengages when needed. They know that not every battle is theirs to fight, and that some storms are better walked away from than weathered. It takes discipline to do this. When someone screams at you, insults you, tries to provoke you, it's tempting to fire back, to match their chaos with your own. But doing so only feeds the cycle. It validates their behavior. It drags you into a place that's unproductive and draining. Instead, you can step out. You can walk away from the argument, not because you're weak, but because you're strong enough to know what's worth your energy. You can maintain your composure even when the other person is spinning out. And in doing so, you reclaim your power. Some people will never understand this. They will continue to live in storms of their own making. That's their path. But you don't have to join them. You can choose stillness. You can choose clarity. You can choose peace. And in that choice, you'll find something rare. Freedom. Freedom from emotional manipulation. Freedom from reactive living. Freedom from the cycles that once kept you trapped. A Stoic knows that peace isn't found by fixing the world, it's found by mastering oneself. And that mastery often begins with a simple, powerful act. Refusing to be pulled into chaos that isn't yours. Your calm is power. The next time someone screams at you, pause, breathe. And remember this, their volume does not determine your value. Their chaos does not belong to you. You are not here to absorb their storm. You are here to master your own mind. That's Stoicism. That's strength. If you found wisdom in this message, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs peace over panic. And remember, your calm isn't weakness, it's the ultimate power. Until next time, walk steady, speak truth, stay grounded,